Good afternoon. This is the third video lesson on electromagnetic induction. In second video lesson, we have discussed about two laws. One is Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, which states that the induced EMF is equal to rate of change of magnetic flux, E equals to minus N into d phi B by dt. The second one is the Lenge's law, which determines the direction of induced EMF. And we stated that the direction of induced EMF is such that it always opposes any change in the magnetic flux causing it. We came to know that the Lenge's law follows conservation of energy principle that we have demonstrated with the help of a coil and a bar magnet. So when the bar magnet moves towards the coil, there is a loss in kinetic energy of the magnet. The loss in the kinetic energy will appear in the form of heat in the coil. So, and we started the motional EMF also. We were telling in the previous class that there are three different ways in which we can induce EMF or currents in conductors. We have discussed the first case, that is due to translatory motion of a rod on a rail. So the expression E equals to BLV. That is the magnitude of induced EMF produced in a conductor of length L moving with a uniform speed V in a magnetic field B is E equals to BLV. This was the derivation we made yesterday. Okay. Now we try to give the direction of this induced EMF or induced current. Direction means what? Whether it is flowing in the clockwise or anti-clockwise. If at all current is flowing, then there should be a potential difference. So if the rod induces or gets developed with potential difference, which end of the conductor is positive, which end of the conductor is negative, these things can be known from Fleming's right hand rule. So today our class will begin with Fleming's right hand rule, which determine the direction of induced current or induced EMF. So Fleming's right hand rule. Fleming's right hand rule, direction of induced EMF oblique current. Okay, right. So let us make the reference to the yesterday's diagram that we have produced a uniform magnetic field normally into the plane of the board like this. We had a metallic frame over which there was a side which is sliding. We name it as what PQ, and this is what RS, and we allowed this to move with the speed V. Right. So what is that? Now as it is moving, because of decrease in the flux, we said EMF is induced. The magnitude of induced EMF E equals to BLV. Now we would like to give what is the direction of this current, clockwise or anti-clockwise, that using Fleming's right hand rule. The rule is same as Fleming left hand. First three fingers of right hand, stretch them mutually perpendicular. Let me show you. Stretch your first three fingers of right hand such that they are mutually perpendicular. Forefinger points in the direction of field. There is no change in this finger. Even in FLR also, this finger is to determine or to denote the direction of magnetic field. Okay. Now, then we used to say that central finger points the direction of current. First reference was made to forefinger. Second reference was made to central finger. And finally this one, third finger. But now we will go reverse. First finger now, this is, then reference should be made to this one. So forefinger points the direction of field, thumb shows the direction of motion, then central finger shows the direction of current. Field, thumb mein M you should remember. M denotes motion in thumb. So forefinger field, thumb motion, central finger C, current, induced current. So law says that forefinger in the direction of field, obviously magnetic field only. Now thumb, THU, let me write capital so that it will be easy for you to remember. Thumb shows the direction of motion of the conductor. Okay, then central finger, see, current induced. So I have made underline between particular letters. They correspond to the FF, MM and CC. So using this, we try to give the direction of induced current in this rod. Okay, right. Now, the field is pointing into the plane of the board. So forefinger point in the direction of field. Thumb should show the direction of motion of the conductor. So now conductor is moving towards left. So thumb also should be pointing towards left. Then central finger is the direction of induced current. So according to this convention of FRR, Fleming's right hand rule, the current should flow in the conductor PQ from end P to end Q downwards. So this is the direction of current. This is what I, induced current. Okay, right. So now children, you do not have any battery over here. You do not have any cell. You have simply a magnetic field which you cannot see at all. You can feel the magnetic field but you cannot see with your eyes. Okay. Only thing what you can see is what? A metal ring. So here I am creating a magnetic field which I cannot see. But I can have a metal ring and move it inside and outside. Okay. And if I connect a battery here, if I connect a bulb here, between these two ends, what is this end? This end is what? Q, and this end is what? P. So between ends P and Q, if I connect a bulb, and because of this current, it's coming downwards, it will go like this, it will go like this, it will go like this. The bulb will glow. So it's simply a magic. There is a magnetic field which cannot be seen, but there is a frame. I am just moving the frame connected to a bulb. Okay, or I am moving the conductor in the frame, the bulb will start glowing. So now your rod PQ, the conductor PQ, which is moving on the rails, will behave like a battery. So this equivalent circuit I can draw like this. So this will be plus, minus, like this. This is your bulb. That means the rod can be replaced by a battery now. This is a battery. Now is this correct? Is this polarity correct? Is it plus on the top and minus at the bottom? Now you see this one. Current is going like this. Means current should go like this. Now if this is a battery or a cell, what is the convention for us? Convention is that whenever you draw a cell, plus minus, current is taken always out of the positive terminal. So if this is the negative terminal, how can you take out? So therefore, this polarity is wrong. So what should you do? Then this is negative, this is positive, okay, and this is your end P, and this is your end Q, and now you have connected a battery, bulb here, the bulb will glow. So the rod PQ is equivalent to a cell with positive polarity at the bottom, negative polarity at the top. Because of this only what will happen? Current will go down, will go like this, will go like this, will go like this. So therefore, the end P will become negative and this will become what? Positive. So if current has to flow, either it will go in this direction or it can go in this direction. Clear? So this is how you have to determine the direction of induced current in a circuit or induced EMF. So this also will be asked along with this. If this happen to be a 3-mark question, state Faraday's right hand rule and derive an expression for EMF induced in a movable rod PQ kept in a uniform magnetic field B, and judge which end will be positive and which end will be negative, means this is the answer. Clear? Now if you reverse the direction of magnetic field, the field is coming outwards, then this will become what? The opposite polarity. This will become negative and this will become what? Positive. Now this is right. What we have shown here is this is positive and this is what? Negative. Clear? You also can determine this according to Lenge's law also. Some examples I will give you after completion of the discussion of motional EMF. Okay? Right. Now do you understand how to this one? Fine. So what is for Fleming's right hand rule, children? Fleming's right hand rule is to determine the direction of induced EMF or induced current. What is Fleming's left hand rule? Fleming's left hand rule is to determine the direction of force on a conductor in a magnetic field. Okay. What is right hand thumb rule? Right hand thumb rule is to determine the direction of magnetic field due to a current carrying conductor. Right hand thumb rule is different from right hand rule. Fleming right hand rule is this one and right hand thumb rule is this one. Okay, right. Now let us go to the second case of motional EMF. Number 2, motional EMF due to a rotating rod. Metallic rod, where in the magnetic field. Okay, so this is not mentioned as a separate topic in the textbook, children. It is discussed in example with a numerical. There is a metal rod of length 1 meter which is kept in a uniform magnetic field. Okay, and this rod is made to move on a circular ring of radius 1 meter, which is fixed with the plane of the ring perpendicular to the magnetic field. Now the rod is pivoted at one end at the center of the metal ring and other end is allowed to move on the circumference of the ring. Now you need to calculate the EMF induced between the pivot and the other end of the rod. The same thing. Okay, right. Now what I do? Again I will imagine a uniform magnetic field here. Like this. Now I have a metal ring here. Circular metallic ring. Okay. So this is metal ring. What is this? This is a magnetic field B. Now what I do? This is the center and this is a rod. So this is P and this is Q. Fine. Now its radius is say R. So PQ equals to R is a metal rod. Is a metal rod. The length of the rod is nothing but what? Capital R. Now what you do, children? You just tap this with a speed V. You give a tangential velocity V. Okay. Then in one full rotation, it will sweep a flux. Flux phi equals to B into A. Now this will be always cos 0 only. B dot A, BA cos 0. Because 0 is the angle between the normal drawn to the coil and the magnetic field. Both will be pointing in the same direction. So that's why we directly write it as BA. Even you can write in the examination directly. Okay, right. Now, let the rod rotate on the metal ring on the metal ring with a uniform speed omega, where you have V equals to R omega. This implies omega equals to V by R. You can use this formula, children, only when the angular speed is constant, with uniform angular speed rather. So this is angular speed omega. Okay, right now. So before it starts rotating, the flux linked with this was 0. After that, after one full rotation, the flux, which flux? Magnetic flux. The flux swept by the rod in one full rotation. Phi equals to BA, that equals to B into A is nothing but pi r square, because r is the length of the rod and this happened to be the radius of the metal ring also. The flux swept by it is what? Pi r square. So earlier there was a 0 flux, children. Now the flux is increasing from 0 to B into pi r square. Before rotation flux was 0. After one rotation flux is B into pi r square. Now EMF induced in the rod is E equals to minus d phi b by dt. Okay, so this will be written as minus phi 2 minus phi 1 divided by t, one time period. Okay, so this will be E equals to minus phi 2 is nothing but b into pi r square minus phi 1 0 divided by t, where t you can write it as omega equals to 2 pi by t. Therefore, t equals to 2 pi by omega. So one time period this is. So 2 pi by omega. What is this t, children? This t is a time period. Time taken by the rod to complete one rotation on the ring. So this you can write it as E equals to minus b into pi r square divided by 2 pi into omega. So pi gets cancelled here. So you will have induced EMF E equals to minus b into r square omega by 2. This is all the induced EMF. Of course, the negative sign will come there. So don't worry about this. Negative sign always opposes. That means जैसा ये स्वीप करना शुरू करते हैं वैसा इसमें EMF आते हैं. The direction of induced EMF is always such that it opposes any further increase in the flux. मतलब किसी ने कोई ने इसको यूनिफॉर्म स्पीड में घुमाते जाना है, नहीं तो वो रुक जाएगा, अपने आप रुक जाएगा, क्योंकि induced EMF will oppose the motion. Okay, right. So this is only the magnitude. If you want to write this in the form of linear speed, this is minus b into what is this? We have written somewhere. Yeah, omega equals v by r. You can write b into r square into omega is nothing but what? V by r whole divided by 2. This and this will cancel, children. You will get E equals to minus b r v by 2, that equals to BLV divided by 2, where L equals to R. So why did I write this expression is I wanted to bring a comparison between a translating rod and a rotating rod. For a rod which is translating on a metallic frame, which you have seen in the last class, this is the frame and here this is the side which can slide on this like this. For this expression E equals to BLV, but for this expression E equals to BLV by 2. So did you notice the difference? Here the two ends are moving with the same speed. Here only one end is moving with speed V, other end is at rest. So therefore the induced EMF is average to half of that, BLV by 2. Okay. It is done with the help of integration in the textbook. Anyway, you can follow. They have taken for only a small angle theta. Okay, that is reasonable because for that small angle theta, the speed almost remains to be what same, though there is induced EMF. But over a full, we are explaining this. Definitely there is a decrease in the angular speed, but there is an agent that supplies a force to this one because of which it will move with a constant speed. That energy supplied by you now will appear in the form of heat in the ring. अगर ये रिंग को आप टच करके देखें तो वो गर्म होता है. Okay, this also will have heat produced in it, H equals I square RT. Okay, so what is the final expression? Br square by omega, Br square omega by 2 R minus Br into V by 2. Clear? Right. Now we will go to the third case. Third case is due to rotation of the coil in the magnetic field. All magnetic fields are uniform only. So I change this 2 to 3. Motional EMF due to a rotating coil. This is a more practical application, children. Basing on this only we have developed an electric generator, AC generator. Okay, right. Now have a coil here. Maybe a rectangular coil. Name it PQRS, PQRS. Now keep it in a uniform magnetic field that is parallel to the plane of the board. Now what is the difference between this field which I am drawing now and the two fields which we used for the remaining two cases? Both of them are uniform only. Those two fields were pointing normally into the plane of the board, but this is parallel to the plane of the board. It is our convenience to create any type of magnetic field to understand the things clearly. So PQRS is a coil, may have very large number of turns also, which in turn will be called as an armature. You have studied in class 10th. Okay, right. Now this is area of the coil. If I want to make it as a vector, I have to draw a normal. So this is a normal drawn. Now the normal makes an angle 90 degree with the field. Okay. If you provide an axis to this, which is called axis of the coil, about which it can be rotated with a constant angular velocity omega. So as the coil rotates like this, now the situation is like this. Coil is placed like this and the normal is like this. Now if you rotate it in clockwise or anti-clockwise, now this is actually clockwise, clockwise only, yeah. So if I rotate this in the clockwise direction, what will happen? This theta value will be now 90, it will be gradually decreasing, now it will become 0. And then from 0, it will go to 95, 100, 150, 160, 180. Then 270 and 360. So theta value continuously changing from 0 to 360 as it rotates in the magnetic field. So let rectangular coil, I am writing because I have taken that only. Rectangular coil of n turns, rotate at a constant angular velocity omega in a uniform magnetic field. Okay, so now the instantaneous flux linked with the coil. The instantaneous, matlab at any moment, at any instant, the instantaneous flux linked with the coil, phi equals to phi b equals to b dot a. So it is necessary for us here because angle plays a crucial role. Ba cos theta. Now for a constant angular velocity, you have angular velocity omega equals to angular displacement divided by time. So this will be theta equals to omega into t. So therefore, your instantaneous flux will become Ba cos omega t. Okay, right. Now n you can introduce total flux, instantaneous total flux is nVa cos omega t, or EMF induced in the coil totally, there also you can. Now, as the coil rotates, omega t changes continuously and hence flux. मतलब इसके कारण फ्लक्स भी चेंज होता है. What will happen? As a result, EMF is induced where? In the coil. So what is the formula? E equals to minus n into d phi b divided by dt. Because I am considering n number of turns, that's why I am using this minus n into d phi by dt. So therefore, E equals to minus n into d by dt of phi b. Instantaneous flux is Ba cos omega t. So this B minus n is here. B and A are constant because field is not changing. Area of the coil is also not changing physically. So only cos omega t will change. So d by dt of cos omega t. So this minus n into b into a. Differentiation of cos omega t is minus sin omega t into omega. So this minus and minus will become plus. E equals to plus. So this is b n b a. And this omega is the product of this one. So taken out into sin omega t. I remember it for my convenience. Ban omega. The same things only, rearranging. Ban omega into sin omega t. Okay, so this ban omega, that is, if you ban omega, मतलब coil को rotate करने से ban करो, बंद करो, मतलब omega को ban करना मतलब rotation को ban करना. Ban करने से क्या होता? Flux कम होता. Flux कम होने से क्या होता? It produces a change, so EMF is induced. So ban omega will lead to induced EMF. Okay, this also will be written as E equals to E naught into sin omega t. Where E naught equals to ban omega is the maximum EMF induced. The maximum induced EMF. Okay. So, in the previous two cases, children, there was no sine function. So EMF was not constant. Here sine function आ गया तो EMF change होते हैं. So if you are asked to plot a graph between time t and induced EMF, this one time t induced EMF E, the graph is supposed to be a sine curve. So what is the shape of sine curve? Why sine curve? Because sine function is there. So it's like this. So in one full rotation, the current induced in the coil, first it will gradually increase and it will reach a maximum value, and then it will decrease. Okay, and then it will increase in the opposite direction and it will become what? Zero. Current does not flow like this as the graph is showing, children. It is only the variations in the magnitudes. करंट तो वायर के साथ ही चले जाएगा. अगर वायर स्ट्रेट है तो स्ट्रेट लाइन में ही करंट जाएगा. वायर बेंड है तो बेंड डायरेक्शन में जाएगा, वायर सर्कल है तो सर्कल में ही जाएगा. इट डजेंट हैव एनी प्रिफर्ड डायरेक्शन. कंडक्टर के हिसाब से चलते हैं वो. बट हाउ, कोई भी कंडक्टर हो, हर कंडक्टर में एसी करंट ऐसे जाता है? नो, ऐसा नहीं जाएगा. इट इज ओनली द वाइब्रेशन ऑफ electrons, drift velocity of electrons from one end to other end, again that matters for the current to flow. Okay, so धीरे धीरे कम ज़्यादा होता है करंट, देन स्लो डाउन होता है, फिर रुक जाता है, फिर अपोजिट डायरेक्शन में. ओके, करंट इंक्रीज होता है, फिर जीरो होता है. सो दिस विल व्हाट रिपीट. सो दिस मैग्नीट्यूड इज प्लस बैन ओमेगा and this magnitude is minus ban omega. Okay, so this current is known as alternating current or alternating EMF. Alternating EMF. If you know the resistance that is connected across the armature, then you have, according to Ohm's law, E equals to IR, so that I equals to E divided by R, that is ban omega sin omega t divided by R. This is called as alternating current, AC. This is what we produce in the generators. Okay, so AC generator basically works on this principle only. Right. Now we were referring the previous cases where the induced EMF in a rod. What was the expression for a rod? For a rod you have this expression, E equals to BLV for a metal rod in a magnetic field. So if you are asked to plot a graph between time t and your induced EMF E, okay, then it is supposed to be a constant, because the rod is moved with uniform speed v. That's what we are beginning with. Consider a rod of length L, side of length L is moved with uniform speed towards left on the rails. So in such case, the graph will be what? Like this. Okay. So remember children, the interpretation is very, very important rather than the derivation. In view of board examinations, derivation is the easiest part. But the interpretation of the derivations and application based on that knowledge is very, very important. So we are